All right, Ulises, welcome the St. Louis Cardinals to the Trop for a 3-game series. Hopefully it goes better than the weekend series against the White Sox.
Well, it's going to be the Randy Rosario, so that'll be nice.
Yes, it will be.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. That's what rockauto.com does for you. So be sure to visit.com and tell them Locked On sent you. All right, Ulises, as we mentioned, the St. Louis Cardinals come to solid team so far this year, standing at 33-23. They are second in the NL Central behind the Milwaukee Brewers. The rest of that division is pretty crummy between the Pirates, Cubs, and Reds, but certainly it's not going to be an easy fight facing.
No, I mean, definitely it is a wimpy division. I think at the NL Central and both Central divisions, I think they're a joke. In comparison to other divisions. But that doesn't mean that they're not a good team. They are a good team. They're one of the only good teams in each Central division. And they're very, very close from the division leader. They're a half game away as we're recording this on Monday evening. So it'll be very interesting to see this team. We never really get too deep into NL teams. And there's one guy who I think, because of following the American, and I'm sure you can agree, we've missed out on a possible future Hall of Fame career in a guy that has played in the West and then now with the Cardinals, and that's Paul Goldschmidt, who is absolutely destroying. I mean, 340 average, 423 on base, 608 slugging.
Yeah.
Whenever you have an OPS with a 1 point anything, well, you're doing something good. 12 bombs, man. I mean, the guy, and by the way, premier first baseman. So tremendous talent. It'll be to see him, even though he plays for the other team, for the bad guys. I think, again, sometimes you need to take off your Rays hat, and like I did today, and just enjoy the talent of some other players that you never really get to see.
Paul Goldschmidt, looking up his career stats and what he's done so far this season, he might be the most underrated player, unheralded player in all of baseball.
Yep.
I think, confident, just 2 more good years and he's in the Hall of Fame. 6-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, 4-time Gold Glove winner. He is basically as good, if not, and who gets talked much more about? Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, it's right there. So again, sometimes depending on the market that you're in, we very much know about, when you have a good player and the market really doesn't help the visibility of such player. I think Paul Goldschmidt, obviously that didn't help with him being in Arizona for so long.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are a big market team, and everybody loves the Cardinals, right? Except for Cubbies fans.
Although I wouldn't say they're a big market team, they're just such a historic. Louis isn't necessarily a big market. I think they lost the Rams to LA.
Sure. So a big team, a big traditional team in baseball. Very, very big historic players, and so I think that might help him a little bit with his garnering more love around the game, not only by writers but fans alike. But it's kind of odd when there's a talent like that. It's about as much as they should be just because of who they play for.
Yeah. Again, he really got spoiled and wasted away in the desert because he played for the Diamondbacks for so long. And even still, I feel like playing with the Cardinals, he's not getting as much kudos as he should be. As could you imagine if he was playing in a Yankees uniform or a Dodgers uniform or a Red Sox uniform? I mean, he's right up there with Aaron Judge this season. And who's getting more play? Aaron Judge. And didn't Paul Goldschmidt have a 20-40 game on base streak? And like, I had to dig for that information.
Well, that's the thing. Also, not only that, okay, we said it's traditional, not big market, but you also need to, unfortunately, for individual players like him, you need to be on a winning team in order to get more spotlight and more platform. And if you're not even getting through one game of the playoffs, then it gets a little bit tough to garner that. So, maybe the Cardinals do take the Central, and then they can at least have, some staying power in the playoffs, but we'll see about that.
Well, again, it's expanded playoffs, so they don't necessarily have to win the division. They sneak in and they can move on and up from there. We'll have to see, but I think really take this opportunity to appreciate, just like you would appreciate Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout when they come to town, or you're watching the Rays face them in LA. Appreciate Paul Goldschmidt, because it's one of those, his career it just jumps out at you.
Yeah.
It's like, where have I been all this time? Like, I thought, okay, good player, solid player, but not perennial all-star Gold Glove winner, basically well on his way to a Hall of Fame trek. And I've got a point on that with the Cardinals. But first, we have to tell you about Rock Auto. You can save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto, it's a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. And their prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could possibly need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpets. So go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs, and be sure you tell them Locked On sent you when you go to rockauto.com.
Paul Goldschmidt is not the only one who Rays fans should definitely make the trek to see on this weekday series. There's also another Hall of Famer that will be making an appearance, and that's Albert Pujols, by the way. He's back wearing that red and white, the better red and white, not the other red and white that made him look like he was not as good as a player as he was. But he's back in St. Louis. He's back with the Cardinals. The numbers are not necessarily there. He's barely hitting in the Mendoza line, not even 700 OPS. But guys,
it doesn't matter.
Albert Pujols, this is the machine.
Yeah.
If you've got the opportunity to go to a game, go to a game, see a Hall of Famer, and then you can tell your grandkids, I saw the bleeping machine.
Yeah, he can have an OPS under 700. Cardinals fans are making that trek and that opportunity to watch him on the road or at home just for the history aspect of it. So Albert Pujols, definite Hall of Famer. Paul Goldschmidt, possible Hall of Famer. I would say likely Hall of Famer. Yadi Molina.
Of course.
10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time World Series winner. That's not it. Nolan Arenado.
Nope. Yep.
47 career WAR at 31 years old. He's also killing it, by the way, this season for the Cardinals. I don't know if this guy gets in the Hall of Fame, but he makes a good point. Adam Wainwright. I think he's going to wind up doing the Mark Burley situation, but he is having quite a season this year. Again, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, won a World Series. I don't think he's done enough in his career to warrant being a Hall of Famer, but has he only played for the Cardinals in his entire career?
No, I think he played also for the Braves, if I'm not mistaken. At least he was drafted by the Braves, I'm pretty sure. But no, the thing, I think he was drafted
because
by
I
the
feel
Braves.
like that would add some cachet if you play with one organization.
I think he was drafted by the Braves, and then he was switched when he was in AA or AAA to the Cardinals, maybe. So
well, that means all his major league seasons were with the Cardinals since 2005.
Look at that. No, again, look.
Maybe he does get his career WAR is 46.
Again, like Adam Wainwright, I don't think he's a Mark Burley type of guy. I think he's going to stay in the ballot for a couple of years. Maybe he drops off, but I don't think it's a one and done with him.
Kurt Schilling doesn't get in, but Adam Wainwright does. Not taking away from Adam Wainwright.
I don't think he's going to get in. I don't think he's going to get in, but I mean, I think he's going to have a couple of years on the ballot, I think, which I think is, again, if I'm going to put my other hat on, which is the middle one on top, Johan Santana, not getting at least 1 year in, that would be unfair because he was a way better pitcher than Adam Wainwright. But again, Rays fans, take off your Rays baseball hat and go see a tremendous curveball.
Yeah.
Because if you are old enough, like me and Kevin are, and you remember that 2006 NLCS, and then Carlos Beltran wearing a Mets uniform, and then staring at that Adam Wainwright curveball just passing him by, you have to be a little bit old. Maybe a couple of gray hairs on your side to remember that pitch. But if you don't remember that, go ahead and YouTube that and enjoy that pitch.
But I don't think we're speaking out of school and saying that you have the opportunity to watch 4, maybe 5 Hall of Famers on the opposing ball club.
It's pretty cool.
Which is pretty special. And how long that they've been able to do it, it's quite a testament. So if the Rays don't make it far into the playoffs, I guess I've never followed or rooted for the Cardinals per se,
right?
But I would be rooting for them with Wainwright and Molina and Pujols to get over the hump and try to make something out of it right there. Now, we kind of buried the lead a little bit, but Randy Rosario was a one-time St. Louis Cardinal. So he will, I would assume, want to try to exact revenge, hit a couple bombs, steal a couple bags, make a couple catches, throw a couple guys out. Is Randy going to go off in this 3-game series?
God, he seems like the guy that would take something like that personally, and I think he will. Just like Isaac Paredes, we saw him ball out against Detroit and hit a couple of bombs. I think Randy is that type of guy. I think he doesn't shy away from the moment. I know he's been getting a little bit of flack from the fandom with the base running gaffes at times, but I'm a little bit frustrated. But I would rather have Randy Rosario keep getting caught going crazy on the base paths than not. Because guess what, people? Do you not remember Game 4? Do you not remember Game 4 of the World Series in 2020? That's him. And if you loved him then, you have to love him when he gets called out too. You have to.
Yeah. It'd be one thing if he's taking the bat out of great hitters' hands, but there's not much offense to speak of. So you sort of have to create your own way. And
is he taking the bat away from Taylor Walls, Vidal Brujan? Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. If it's Wander that you're taking the bat away from, or a hot Brandon Lau, or a hot, then Austin Meadows or Nelson Cruz, okay, then I've got a beef. But you got to find a way to cycle in some runs. And at the end of the day, big picture, yes, 2020, what he did in the postseason and in the regular season was absolutely remarkable, historic, probably never going to see it again in our lifetime. But, if you add it all together in his time with the Rays, 215, 216 regular season games, the numbers are pretty damn good. 272 batting average, 33 homers, 104 RBI, 813 OPS. Not bad for basically giving up a prospect pitcher, Matt Liberatore, who, again, is very young, has a lot of time to grow and develop, hasn't looked good in his 2 starts with the Cardinals. I think was sent back down, or isn't. I don't think he's on the 26-man roster as of right now, but that has definitely been a win trade for the Rays. And maybe in time it'll be a win for the Cardinals. Need pitching, need starting pitching.
Yeah.
But they also, again, baseball trade, need for need. The Cardinals were and continue to be loaded with outfielders: Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson. At some point you gotta open up a spot. And Randy probably didn't do himself any favors with recording using his cell phone in a locker room and getting Mike Schilt on video yelling expletives. So that probably was his little bit of a ticket out of town there. So
that was the ticket, of course, that was written after the video. But also, there's a lot of gold in that team out there with the Gold Gloves. That defense,
it's true.
That's something that we as Rays fans have always prided ourselves in. Look how good our pitching and defense is. Look at their defense. Look at their defense. I mean, this year that defense has not been there as it has been in years past. I mean, the numbers prove it. I mean, you yourself said it. I think defensive runs safe, they were 18th as of the time of the recording last Thursday. So I don't think it must have changed that much after 3 games. So that's pretty mediocre, and that's not something the Rays fandom is used to. So you're going to see a team that at least last year was really good defensively, and I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough series. It's going to be a lot of pitching and defense. I don't think there's going to be a lot of offense to speak of, except for that Paul Goldschmidt,
Yeah.
and Nolan Arenado, by the way, who we haven't even talked about his prowess with the bat. He also has an 842 OPS,
Yeah.
10 bombs, so he's no slouch. The problem with the Cardinals is that Goldschmidt and Arenado haven't gotten hot at the same time. So hopefully that's the case, and they don't get hot, both of them, in St. Pete.
And they just called up Nolan Gorman, I think is his name, and he's been killing it since being called up as well. They've got a solid team. They've got a lot of guys that, besides Goldschmidt and Arenado are bringing the lumber, bringing the power, but they've got a lot of other guys that are hitting for average. They got a lot of guys that are, giving you a 270, 275 batting average, which in now this day and age, that might as well be 310. So they're really, pretty solid and balanced across the board. 11th in team OPS across baseball, 14th in team ERA. Wainwright killing it, Mikolas killing it, Hudson killing it, and then 12th in defensive runs saved. I would imagine that might be higher by the year end, considering how many guys have won Gold Gloves on that team. But again, where the numbers back up what their record is as of right now, for sure.
And the revelation of the year for at least them is Juan Yepes, who was my pickup as soon as he was happening. He was getting hot, and I picked him up on our fantasy league, so that's been nice. He's hitting 269, a 333 on base, 442 slugging. That's a 775 OPS, 4 home runs. A rookie, he already has won them a couple of game-winning RBIs, game-winning hits, actually, walk-off fashion the other day. So this is a complete team, an overall good team. It's going to be a tough series, I don't think. I think if the Rays win this series, which I hope obviously that they do, it should give that clubhouse a little bit of an oomph of, okay, we're good, because the Rays, let's shift a little bit. The last 26 games, they're 13-13. They're a 500 club right now.
Yeah.
So you got to start making up that road of positivity. And I know that the scheduling gets a little bit better for the Rays in June and July, like we talked about previously in during the lockout. So maybe when you start playing these really good teams and you start to get series wins, it's a little bit better than that deflating sense of one-run back-to-back losses like they had with the White Sox.
Before we talk about the greatest protein bar on earth, do you remember the other piece in that Randy Arozarena, Matt Liberatore deal?
Randy Arozarena. Oh, yeah. Cafecito Martinez, right?
How could we forget?
Oh, my God. You're right. Wait, no. And there was somebody else. There was somebody else.
I don't remember that somebody else, but that's who I was thinking of, was Cafecito.
Wasn't there somebody else, though?
What happened? He just fell flat off. I think
the Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah.
The Hunter Renfroe. Sometimes guys can't just be platoon guys. Sometimes they need the 300, 400 at bats. That's not something.
And he never got another shot, really.
No. I think the Cubs might have picked him up, and then he got hurt. That's the thing. His knee, I think.
And then he was 32, 33,
gone.
No defense. Although if maybe the DH had come a little 3 to 5 years sooner,
2 years
he could have had a much
yeah.
different career for sure. Because his career, he could hit, but oh my, talk about literally no glove whatsoever.
So
just crazy.
That sucks. But you know what doesn't suck, Kevin?
Built Bar.
My goodness, no, because don't you love a chewy chocolatey brownie? What about a caramel brownie with caramel swirled on top? That's so good. But what if I told you that you can have all that chewy chocolatey deliciousness plus 17 grams of protein? Well, you're in luck, because caramel brownie bars are available where? You know where? At built.com. And you got to act fast, because they're a fan favorite. You know it. They're a fan favorite of mine. So forget about dessert. These are better than dessert. Plus, the macros are unreal. 130 calories, 17 grams protein, only 4 grams sugar. I would replace a regular brownie with Built's caramel brownie bar in a heartbeat. And you know why? Because they're covered in 100% real chocolate. That's yummy for you. Like, for real. With Built Bars, you don't have to sacrifice tasty for healthy. You can have both. So today, go to built.com, and you're going to use promo code LOCKED15, which is going to get you 15% off your order. So today, go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and that's going to get you 15% off at built.com.
All right, before we end this episode, something we didn't have an opportunity to last week. How's that X-ray where we check in on a former Rays player? Ulises, who is the X-ray, or what X-ray will you be spotlighting today?
One that would have been seen at the Trop, but unfortunately, he was just placed on the IL hours before we're recording, and that is none other than Corey Dickerson, who, of course, is now playing with the St. Louis Cardinals. But unfortunately for him and those Corey Dickerson fans, he is not doing so hot. He's hitting 194, a 245 on base, 286 slugging, just 2 long balls. 531 OPS. It hasn't been a kind season, a kind 2022 for Corey Dickerson. We all remember him as the guy who was the all-star of the Rays and DFA. He's had I think a really good career for most major leaguers. I mean, when you have an 804 OPS as a career hitter, 280 batting average, for the people in the back that like batting average, man, that's a good career and a sustainability too, because he's been in the league since 2014, I believe. So that's a good 8 years, solid 8 years career. But unfortunately, this year has not been kind to him.
Yeah, and again, I think 98% of pro ball players would love to have the career that Corey Dickerson has had. I don't know how much money he's made in his career. If I had to ballpark it, maybe $25 to $30 million, give or take.
Not bad. That's not a bad guess.
No, I mean, something tells me he won't have to do anything the rest of his life if he chooses not to. Here's the thing about Corey Dickerson. I mean, again, the aging curve is different now than it was during the steroid era, but I think having to bounce around, he's played with like 4 teams in 4 years. That can't be easy.
No. 41 million, by the way. 41 points. So
not too shabby.
Not too shabby indeed. Yeah. Colorado Rockies, Rays, Pittsburgh Pirates, Miami Marlins, and St. Louis Cardinals.
Interesting. I'm looking at his page, and he was drafted in the 29th round out of a community college, then 8th round again later on. You know who else was an 8th round pick? Paul Goldschmidt. Crazy. Goldschmidt's always been overlooked, evidently. But I'm glad that you brought up Corey Dickerson, because this guy, while Corey Dickerson started his career with the Rockies, this guy is currently with the Rockies and doing very well in his name. And it's a pitcher, nonetheless. Pitcher doing well with the Rockies. You don't hear that very often.
No.
Alex Colome.
Wow. Old friend. Remember, you are an old Rays fan. Not that old, actually. I'm just being facetious. But remember that Alex Colome was a starter.
Whew. Wow. That seems like 100 years ago.
That seems like 100 years ago, doesn't it?
Yeah. I remember him getting 37 saves in a season and 47 saves in a season, and being one of the very few to be able to eclipse the 40 save mark. But Alex Colome right now, he's thrown 18 1/3 innings and has a 2.95 ERA. Now the WHIP is a little bit below 1.582, but not bad for a guy that, again, he's played a decade in the majors, keeps in a spot, and for the most part making the most of it. I think I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, if he keeps it up, what he's doing right now, I would imagine he's going to have to land some sort of multi-year deal.
Or at least get trade deadlined by somebody, right?
And that's why I love this move. Moves like this for teams that know they aren't going to make the playoffs, that know they aren't going to be all that competitive. Although the Rockies, last time I checked, I mean, they were sort of still, while they were last, they were still hovering around 500. Still not going to make the playoffs with the Dodgers,
with
Padres,
that division.
Giants. No, not going to happen. But this gives you equity value in the trade market. So go out and sign a guy like this for $4.5 million to a 1-year deal, and use this as a stepping stone to land some prospects.
Something.
Yeah, instead of, we know we're going to suck, so we're not going to spend any money. We're just, no, like, go out and make a little move here and there. Like as much as it was didn't all necessarily, but the Reds going after Tommy Pham, hoping that, hey, he has a great first half. We can get something. Or
they did get something. They get 48 hours of new slapping Jock Peterson in center field. So that was great.
Yeah. So that's why I love moves like that. Which again, going back a little bit, Alex Colomé, he was traded on May 25th, 2018.
Yeah.
Do you remember the details, the particulars of that trade?
To Seattle with Denard Span. Correct?
Yes. And the Rays in return got
it was mid-season, right? It was in May.
May 25th. Yes.
So,
May 25th, 2018.
So it wasn't 2018. So it wasn't either Zunino or Yarbrough. No, it wasn't like that. It was mid-season. Who the heck did they get from Seattle mid-season?
I'll give it to you. Andrew Moore. That's why you don't remember. That's one name.
Okay.
And the other guy, the greatest thing since sliced bread, Tommy Romero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is.
Why haven't we heard from Tommy Romero?
That is a deep cut because he's not doing that.
I thought he was supposed to be the. Again, that's the thing is these guys. You talk about, hey, he's next on the totem pole. That doesn't mean he's going to have staying power.
And like, no prospect hugging.
Yeah.
No prospect hugging. And it's a shame because we want all these prospects to be something, everybody, right? But I mean, the numbers are just not there. The number, I know somebody that's listening to this is like, Vidal Brujan is going to make it. And like, I really hope so. And then other people are like, Walls is going to really make it. One of you is wrong.
It depends on what your definition of make it is. Like, make it a couple years in the big leagues, get to arbitration.
Free agency. I think when you get to free agency, when you get to choose where to go, dictate your market value per se, at least shape or form, then I think that's making it.
What if you don't get signed in free agency though? Is that considered making it?
Yeah, because I mean, you had 6 years, right? 6-7 years in the major league, so
which is more than most.
A lot of people. I think the average lifespan of an MLB guy is like 3-4. It's not even.
Yeah, again, like you, a lot of guys can kick it for 200, 250 at bats, and then you never hear from them again.
Like Taylor Motter, people.
Remember when Taylor Mike Brasso? Is Mike Brasso playing?
Good question.
Yeah. Well, you gotta latch onto a really bad team and see that way. That's usually the best option. Alex Colomé, career saves. How many career saves does he have?
188.
7.
Okay.
Not too bad. He
has a really solid. See, that's sustainability.
Yeah. 10 years.
Sustainability.
A career 3.10 ERA.
What a guy.
And that's a guy that, like, I don't know why the Rays couldn't go out, and maybe it's a clubhouse issue. Who knows? We don't know if he rubbed the organization or the organization rubbed him the wrong way. But I look at this guy and I'd say, yeah, I would throw $4.5 million at him for a year.
Yeah.
I would go acquire him at the trade deadline because this guy takes a long time. He knows how to do it. He's now on. And again, this might go back to the clubhouse thing. He's on his fourth team in 4 years, but that's also relievers too.
Yeah,
relievers get moved around and passed around.
But again, we don't know the specifics and all that. But yeah, I mean, good for him.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah,
I would have never thought type of career for him when he started as a starter because we all thought he was going to be the next best thing as a starter.
Just like we all, yeah.
Definitely not. And then he the next big thing as a reliever. And he's had a very solid career. So good for Alex.
Yeah. Thank you again for making the Locked On Rays podcast your listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. As a reminder, we want to tell you if you want to advertise with us, just shoot us an email, lockedonrays@gmail.com for inquiries and more information about that. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.